So I don't work at a daycare anymore. The environment was getting a little toxic. So yeah. But anyway, while I'm looking for a new job, I have time to film videos for you guys. So anyway, so we're talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren's books today. And you guys, I'm home alone, okay? So if we hear anything and it just got blurry, I don't like that. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren's books today. So the first one is Ghost Hunters. So you guys know how we do this. I read you the description and I tell you if it was good or not. So let's get into it. Ghosts know no season, respect no boundaries, and offer no mercy. Ed and Lorraine Warren, the world's most famous and respected demonologists, have devoted decades to exploring, authenticating, and conclusively documenting countless cases of otherworldly phenomena. Best-selling books and hit motion pictures include The Amityville Horror, A Haunting in Connecticut, The Conjuring, and Annabelle, have been inspired by the Warrens' extraordinary real-life experiences with the supernatural. From the grounds of the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York, to the backwoods of Tennessee, Ghost Hunters chronicles their first-hand confrontations with the unknown, the unholy, and the unspeakable. Here are accounts of teenage girls who trifled with Satanism and seances, only to fall victim to the most horrifying of spirits. A village terrorized by a murderous, unstoppable force too evil to be anything but hellborn, a family's home besieged by the relentless, destructive fury of poltergeists, the real facts behind the House of Horrors in Amityville, in all 14 terrifying tales, all the more spine-tingling because they're true. This was a good one to get into. What I really like about these is they have some of the interviews with the people in here. But this was a good one to start with to get into the series. Not one of my favorites, but it's good if you're looking for just a few short stories. Graveyard. Ghosts are always hungry, someone once said, and no one knows how ravenous they really are more than Ed and Lorraine Warren, the world's most renowned paranormal investigators. For decades, Ed and Lorraine Warren hunted down the truth beyond the most terrifying supernatural occurrences across the nation, and brought back astonishing evidence of their encounters with the unquiet dead. From the notorious house immortalized in the Amityville Horror to the bone-chilling events that inspired the hit film The Conjuring, the Warrens fearlessly probed the darkness of the world beyond our own and documented the all-too-real experiences of the haunted and the possessed, the lingering decreased and the vengeful damned. Graveyard chronicles a host of their most harrowing fact-based cases of ghostly visitations, demonic stalking, heart-wrenching otherworldly encounters, and horrifying comeuppance from the spirit world. If you don't believe, you will, and whether you read alone in the dead of night or in the middle of a sunny day, you'll be forever haunted by its gallery of specters eager to feed on your darkest dread. Yeah, this was talking about incidents just at graveyards or that came from graveyards. I liked this one because obviously I like all the short stories, but this one didn't grasp my attention like some others did. But I think this was the one. One of them in the beginning, it might be the Demonologist, but one of them in the beginning has the one who played Lorraine Warren talking about how terrifying a read it was. This next one, The Haunted. The world's most famous demonologists, Ed and Lorraine Warren, were called in to help an average American family who were being assaulted by forces too awesome, too powerful, too dark to be stopped. Their harrowing encounter with otherworldly evil, supported by dozens of eyewitnesses, including neighbors, priests, police, journalists, and researchers, makes for one of the Warrens' most gripping accounts and one of the most terrifying true tales of the supernatural. The grim slaughterhouse odors, the deafening pounding, the hoofed half-man charging down the hall, physical attacks, a vicious strangling, failed exorcisms, a succubus, and the final terror that continued to torment the Smurl family. So I liked this book. It was about one family, and this was insane, you guys. Like, this was insane. They also have, I was trying to find it. They have some pictures in here of the people. So I definitely recommend giving it a read. In a Dark Place. The story of the most terrifying case of demonic possession in the United States became the basis for the hit film The Haunting in Connecticut, starring Virginia Madsen. Shortly after moving into their new home, I'm not putting on the screen. That family is assaulted by a sinister presence that preys upon them one by one. Exhausting other resources, they turn to world-renowned demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, the paranormal investigators portrayed in the blockbuster film The Conjuring. But even the Warrens had never encountered a case as frightening as this. No one warned the family that their new house was once an old funeral home, and their battle with inexplicable and savage phenomenon has only just begun. What starts as a simple poltergeist soon escalates into a full-scale war between average American family and the deepest, darkest forces of evil, a war this family can't afford to lose. This was insane. Just the son that was supposed to live in the basement. Oh my God. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You guys would really enjoy that. The next one, Werewolf. This is the harrowing true account of William Ramsey, a mild-mannered Englishman, loving husband and father, and nearly lifelong prisoner of a demonic and primal force inside him. With the horrifying power to erase the fine line between civilized man and vicious animal, world-renowned demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren brought their unique expertise to Great Britain to investigate the shocking case that captured headlines, terrified the public, and turned one otherwise ordinary man's life into the stuff of nightmares. What caused the bone-chilling dreams that ultimately tore their way into the waking world of William Ramsey? What kind of blood-curdling transformation did an ER nurse, a police officer, and Ramsey's own wife behold when something violently untamed and unstoppable rage from deep within to make a man become a monster? And when medical science couldn't help William Ramsey, where else was there to turn? Except to the veterans of countless campaigns against otherworldly evil. But even the Warrens would find their formidable skills severely tested confronting the dark soul of a savage beast. If you guys ever watch Annabelle Comes Home, that werewolf that attacked the girl in the movie, it was based off of this story. Alright, you're going to know this one, Satan's Harvest. You're going to know the main person of this one if you ever watched the movie The Nun. I'm just going to say if you ever watched the movie The Nun. So get that movie in your head as I read this. The full story of the shocking true case of demonic possession, first covered in the Boston Herald and brought to the big screen, featuring real exorcism footage in the blockbuster horror film The Conjuring. When terrifying, bizarre things kept happening to a hard-working Massachusetts farmer, he sought help from the local police chief, his priests, and ultimately Ed and Lorraine Warren, the world's most famous demonologists, and investigators of the Amityville Horror and other terrifying cases of supernatural possession. It was the Warrens who called in one of America's most renowned exorcists, Bishop Robert McKenna, and joined him in the battle against evil chronicled in this absolutely terrifying, absolutely true account. Well, that told you nothing. I really liked this book, but the person that we are talking about in this book is called Frenchie. And the last book, The Demonologist. This is a bunch of different short stories in one, too. If you think ghosts are only responsible for hauntings, think again. The Demonologist reveals the grave religious process behind supernatural events and how it can happen to you. Used as a text in scenarios in classrooms, this is one book you can't put down. For over 5 decades, Ed and Lorraine Warren have been known as the world's most renowned paranormal investigators. Lorraine is a gifted clairvoyant, while Ed is the only non-ordained demonologist recognized by the Catholic Church. Together, they have investigated thousands of hauntings in their career. So this was released after they were dead. But, oh yeah, the director of The Conjuring said, "I watch/read a lot of scary stories, but fuck. The Demonologist, the true life account of Ed and Lorraine Warren, is the scariest book I've read." That was from James Wan. And Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine, said, "Primarily, my research relied heavily on the nonfiction book, The Demonologist. It is unlike any book I have ever read. It's a book about mystical theology. In it, one learns just how and why mystical phenomena occur. It scared the daylights out of me. Profoundly, the preface insists that it is not dangerous to read and that knowledge is power. Whatever. I felt a sense of terror every time I cracked it open. I never read the book in the sanctity of my home. I could only read it in flight, funnily enough. Somehow I felt safeguarded in an airplane. This book was good. It was released after they died, but it has a lot of, it'll tell you the 3 stages of demonic possession. It'll tell you stories. It shows you pictures. Like there was the picture of the Annabelle doll, because there's a little bit of an Annabelle part in here. Yeah, it's insane, guys. Like, these are real things. That's what you got to keep in mind when reading. Sometimes I'd forget, and I'd be like, people actually went through these. So yeah, that's the Ed and Lorraine Warren series. I told you there'd only be one video on that because those are the only books that have been released. I don't think any more are coming out. I think that's it for them. There's supposed to be a 4th Conjuring, supposedly. We're not sure about that. So I wouldn't go spreading that around. I'm just saying what I heard. But yeah, and then the next video, we're only doing 1 book because it's a book written by my friend, actually, and I have a signed copy of it. But I'll tell you guys where to find that and all that. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, nothing happened, thank God. But yeah. So, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.